Welcome back to the Unpatched Gaming Podcast, where we share games. I'm your host, Zach.
I am your host, Tyler. Zach, we shared games.
We shared so many.
This is the end of it.
For now.
We shared 108
Tyler
games.
has children, and I have other things that are not children. Maybe one day.
So this is part 2 of our send-off. The last episode was a tier list of all the games we have played together during the podcast. There are plenty that we played separately and we talked about on the cast, but we didn't play them together. So here we are revisiting the March Madness we did, I think, 2 years ago after collaborating with, I have forgotten their name.
They are not active right now.
They're not. They have not been active since then. They had one episode after that, I think.
Yeah, but it was a great time with those guys, and they made this bracket, which was amazing. They seeded all this data based off of basically just Game of the Year award analysis, which is great. We are pretentious, and so what we decided to do was take that idea and run with it in a way that was a little unique. We basically just took what we kind of felt as, people have been gaming for a long time, who are very involved, read a lot about this, are pretty plugged into these communities, and kind of try to take other inputs. Like, a lot of this more recent stuff is only more recent, so let's look at older magazines. What did they kind of say about this? We have a lot of data. Like, here's all of my legacy sources. Here's some modern sources that I used. And I tried to compile it a little bit more, I guess a little bit more comprehensive to include the stuff that, like Doom. The original Doom wasn't on that list. That's always brought up when it's talked about, the best video games of all time. So pieces like that, and we're going to revisit it and hopefully come to a probably the exact same conclusion anyway, but that's fine because
probably
it's fun like this. But
I will say a lot of these games we will have not played or played enough to make fair talk about them
we
fairly
did last time as well.
But this is going to be a more objective as objective as we can.
Yeah, I think objectivity involves a good chunk of subjectivity anyway, but. We're gonna be fair to the stuff we haven't played and recognize its legacy, impact, and the way other people feel about it. But really quick, we're gonna open our next beer because we're recording some of these back to back. But this is gonna be a Jester King Bière de Merlot. Bière de Merlot. Beer spelled B-I-E-R-E, so you know it's gonna taste good because it's spelled all fancy like. This is a 6.7% for re-fermented beer. It's re-fermented with Merlot grapes. Which is very interesting. So we're gonna crack this open.
Can't wait to let me finish off that last little sip at the
bottom. This is Tyler brought this. I've never seen this bottle before.
Yeah, neither have I. I saw the bottle. I was like, "Give me that one."
Wow, this
can't wait. Oh my!
This looks like grape
goodness!
juice.
I cannot wait for this beer.
I said the first beer we opened over the previous episode looked like apple juice. This absolutely looks like grape juice. We're not showing this to Amanda, right?
No.
Good. My wife she likes beer better than I do. Typically, but
this is a much smaller bottle.
Yes.
And this one I've been waiting for.
Well, clink to you, sir. Clink indeed.
Right.
It smells delightful. Yep, it has that little caramel end note that you always get on Merlot. Oh yeah, but it does smell like beer.
It's a farmhouse through and through, but you get the grapes so clearly. Ooh. I drink a lot of Merlot actually. I like Merlot a lot.
You're gonna get mad at me.
What?
I think this is my favorite Jester King beer.
No, I'm not going to get mad. What are you talking about?
I mean, just because it tastes more like wine, and that's probably why it's my favorite.
Oh, yeah. This is easily top 3, probably my favorite. This is
amazing.
So
We've
good.
We've been on a roll with these last picks.
Yeah, I can't wait to get to this one. We'll talk about the next one.
We'll talk about
later.
There.
This is good, dude.
So those of you who don't know, like me and like our friends had to explain it to us because I didn't really understand how March Madness worked. It's the weakest goes against the strongest. So I did have a little weight system. And so the ones with the most choices that were on the highest part of the list, based on like which entry they were on, I had a little Python script that ran through and calculated based on weight. What was the most popular choice for best game at the time, and what was the least popular of the most popular, which a little weird to talk about.
Yeah.
So, for example, Super Mario 64 should be pretty apparent that won across the board. Everybody talked about it, both back then and now, as one of the greatest games ever made. Mm-hmm. Deus Ex, a lot of people talk about it, but it tends to be a little more niche, not as widely remembered and reminisced on, so that's going to be a little lower. So keep in mind this isn't perfect, just kind of not a science, but I tried to include stuff that was older publications as well through the Wayback Machine as well as more modern stuff. let's jump into it, Tyler. Super Mario 64 versus Deus Ex.
Okay, we have not played Deus Ex. Even if we have, we consistently talk about Mario 64 as one of the greatest games of all time.
That is still playable as is today.
We are in those stages that we are about to start losing some legends. Within the next 10 years,
Yep.
we're going to have a few people leave this world. Kojo Kondo is getting up there in age. And I was thinking recently about Mario 64 soundtrack. It's a banger, dude. So many fun things going on. Are we going to, real quick, say anything about Deus Ex?
No, so the reason we're not is not because we haven't played it, but I love immersive sims. I recognize its impact. It is going up against
Mario 64. No question. Mario 64 might take this whole category. Who knows? We'll see.
I would not have probably anything like that.
I was listening to its soundtrack, and I was thinking, why is the save file music there? It's this beautiful little guitar piano piece. It's so gentle and sweet, like with Concerning Hobbits. Like it's something that just puts you at ease immediately. Yeah. But then you jump into, you go from that straight into Bomb on Battlefield. It doesn't belong in any Mario game. It's so strange that it's there. But if you blow out that cartridge 25 years later, this came out in 99, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You blow out that cartridge 25 years later, and you're there. I missed 2 stars back when I was 8. I'm going to go get that. If you listen to that freaking music, dude, I'm about to cry. It's so good, man.
Yeah.
And I think he knew it. That's why it's there for me now.
Yeah.
Anyway. It's so good, man.
Yeah. What else needs to be said? If you're listening to this, you've played 64 or you know enough about it.
Easy.
You get it. Easy.
Easy.
All right, let's move on. I was very surprised.
Was it Control-Shift S to strike through? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Anyway. Just double click somewhere. It'll get rid of the little highlighty thing.
Yeah. Myst and Final Fantasy VII.
So this is interesting. I was very surprised to find that FF7 came out as number 2. I was thinking it'd be Ocarina or Link to the Past or something like that. Very surprised that it was FF7. Final Fantasy VII, the original, was the second Final Fantasy game I played to completion. I beat Final Fantasy 15, and then I'm pretty late to the Final Fantasy game. Then I went back and played 7. It holds up immensely. Obviously, the graphics don't. In fact, I prefer the old 16-bit every time to the weird, blocky Final Fantasy 7 graphics. The story's pretty good. Gameplay's excellent, and it's really fun pacing, really silly. Just an excellent game. There's a reason they're remaking it, not just because it blew up in the West, but because it's a genuinely, like, they're taking the mechanics of materia and the general kind of progression of the original game, and they're translating it 1-to-1 for the remakes. There's a reason it holds up. It's great. With all that, though, said, Myst is the king of a genre.
Yeah.
To this day. Obviously, you and I would prefer Riven. What I've played every
I think so, but still, has
did, yeah.
Its tendrils can be felt throughout the industry, really.
I'm leaning right now toward FF7 because of what it is, but I could be convinced of Myst.
I'm not gonna.
But the problem with me is when I revisit Myst, I never finish it.
I'm not gonna take the time to convince you. FF7 is, honestly, I wouldn't even question it. FF7 is an easy pick.
I think if it were Riven, it'd be a harder choice for me. I genuinely do. Because when I replay Myst, I replay the first few sections and then I stop. Because there are a couple sections that are just kind of meh that they really polished out in the later entries. So,
by the way, I don't know if you mentioned this in the beginning. I was focused on the beer. We're going from 1999 backwards.
Oh, yeah.
This category, these first 16 games, 1999.
Yeah, so the brackets. So the brackets are chunked up by time. So this first one is everything since Jesus was born to 1999. Every video game. As you know, Jesus' favorite video game was Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. And Matthew's was Tetris.
So yeah, now we have Tetris versus Diablo. Honestly, it's funny. If Diablo were up against anything else, it'd be like, well, Diablo, I mean, that is one of the OG video games. Like, that's one of the ones that truly did it. But now you're talking about it had to go up against Tetris, which that is the thing that can apply to that the very most. So I don't see why we wouldn't pick Tetris. That said, if Diablo were up against any of these others, I think it would be a much harder conversation.
Yes.
Because Diablo is...
A much harder conversation, you mean it would have been a conversation.
It would have been.
We're not even talking about Tetris, and we already moved Tetris over.
Correct.
No freaking question. Ocarina of Time and Pokemon Blue.
Pokemon
Red and Blue.
Yeah. And this it wasn't yellow, actually. I didn't combine yellow or red and blue
why?
into it. They were separate on a lot of these lists for some reason, especially the older ones. And red and blue still came out this high. I bet you'd be higher if I combined the two totals.
Well, you know what? I bet what edges it is the fact that yellow is a single-player game. And red and blue are, yes, I know technically they're single-player games, but they're not single-player experiences. And I think that's what probably edges them.
So I would say everyone here who has listened to us knows that we do not like Ocarina of Time.
Do not
we
like
don't
it,
think
man.
it holds up. We think that it's pretty bland. It has a lot of good ideas that just don't land anymore. That Majora's Mask is way better at doing. Majora's Mask is just the objectively better game. Unfortunately, Majora's Mask is not on here. And so I'm going to give this to Pokemon Red and Blue.
I would easily give it above. This is our subjectivity.
Pokemon Red and Blue would be one of my lowest picks on this list, and I'd still give it. Because at least Red and Blue, you can play those today and have a great time.
Yeah.
I can't.
It would be, you'd be sifting through some archaic menus, but it'd be a fun time.
It's playing just like an older version of Emerald at that point, It's just
no question there.
First upset. All right, so now we got Doom versus GoldenEye 007, two first-person shooters. Another one where everyone knows we don't like
even
GoldenEye.
ask Maggie.
And talk about a game you can just boot up and play. Doom.
Like Mario 64, for the rest of eternity, you can turn on Doom and you're like, oh, video games. They're good.
Correct. That's exactly correct. Doom is awesome.
Link to the Past and Super Metroid.
I don't even want to talk about it.
I have not played either of them all the way through.
So I've beaten Super Metroid, and I've played through my favorite parts multiple times. It's one of my least favorite Metroid games, which is controversial. But, I mean, just in terms of the quality, like Link to the Past is a great video game. I've played good chunks of it. I've never finished it. It's great. But Super Metroid is another one where when you go back to Link to the Past, you have to kind of go, oh, well, I accept this is kind of weird and old. Super Metroid plays better than most modern Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
No, dude, the vast majority. Dude, that genre has some stinkers, man.
I want to play the Prince of Persia one, though.
It dropped to $40 now.
Ooh, I might.
Or maybe $30. I think it dropped.
If it's 30, I might have to buy it.
Yeah. Look on Best Buy. The price has dropped. Not on sale. The price has dropped. So you can get it. It's pretty good.
Well, it looks great.
Metal Gear Solid and Mario Bros. 3.
Ugh.
Take it away, Zach. You've played both.
I have played both. I personally prefer Metal Gear Solid, and the reason is Super Mario Bros. 3, for me, was not the game. A lot of this is going to come down to something subjective. It was not the game that did Mario for me. 2D Mario. It was
We're about
Super
to
Mario
talk
World.
about that one.
Yeah, Super Mario World is what did Mario for
Next
me.
on the list, baby.
So keep that in mind as I say this. But Metal Gear Solid has some ideas that even later Metal Gear Solid didn't engage with. Like when I played that for the first time, I called my brother, and it was after the torture sequence, and I said, Nick, this feels like a video game that was made after the major movements in the industry were totally different on what succeeded and the kind of ideas that people wanted to iterate and build on. It feels like a game that came out 10 years after a totally different industry. Like if the industry went a totally different direction. It just feels so fresh with ideas that honestly probably haven't been engaged with in a lot of ways since. It's just messing with this medium in a way that a lot don't. And so now, hold on, before I say that. Metal Gear Solid is a game I played twice and now will never play again. Because the last third of that game in particular is very rough. Super Mario Bros. 3, I can play right now. So, being a Metal Gear fan, I'm going to let my bias win and I'm going to pick Metal Gear Solid. But I really don't think there's much competition.
And there's no room for Super Mario World and Super Mario 3 on the same list, bro.
Oh, I guess there probably is, but...
Super Mario World and Street Fighter 2.
Oh!
It's a hard choice. We would
so
easily,
completely different.
without any conversation, you and I would pick Super Mario World.
Yeah.
But
it's Street
it's
Fighter
Street
2.
Fighter 2.
Dude, this game
It's
changed
hard.
everything, and people still play it.
Okay.
It's amazing.
Do we want to give it to Street Fighter 2 just as a consolation prize? Because it's whatever wins is going up against Mario 64, so it doesn't matter.
That is fair.
Consolation prize goes to Street Fighter 2?
Sure. We'll give it Street Fighter 2. But, I mean, honestly, they're so distinct. It's not even, like, a good...
No, it's really unfair. They're both...
Let's give it Street Fighter 2, but...
Today,
know
they
that
are
we would all...
two of the best.
We would personally pick Mario World easy.
Two of the best games.
Let's move to the next bracket.
Honestly, both Super Mario World and Street Fighter 2, I would take over anything other than Mario 64 in this list.
Really? There are a couple I'd take over, but just like 2 or 3.
We're talking the original Tetris.
It's true.
I do like that double bag, bro. Double bag really helps. Really helps. The original Tetris does not have double bag. It's totally randomized.
Good.
All right, we have Mario 64.
No. Let's go through the.
Oh,
the
okay.
brackets.
Sure. Let's scroll down here to 2000 to 2007.
Yes, this is an interesting category. This is kind of like where I kind of started playing video games for real. You know.
Yeah.
2008 to 15 is where I. Those are my
you were
games.
coming of age at that point.
But like I was playing these games, you know.
Yeah.
So I was very surprised until I thought about what else was there that Resident Evil 4 was on top, and then I realized that a lot of the stuff that I thought would be in this category was not. And I was like, oh, that's obvious. Of course, Resident Evil 4 won this bracket.
Sims 2?
Sims 2 hit here. Isn't that wild?
No.
No, I mean like for like the way people talk nowadays, like looking back at this time. I thought it was kind of odd. That said, I think Resi 4 has taken over Sims 2. Personally.
I know I'm not going to win, so because I'm not going to win,
don't get me
I'm
wrong.
not going to give it an
I think
argument.
Sims 2 is fantastic, and it did something amazing. It's Resi 4.
Yeah.
It's Resi
All right.
4.
Well, Resi 4, it's hard to argue against. BioShock and Devil May Cry.
Devil May Cry.
I know.
We both don't think BioShock holds up super well. It has some great moments.
I think it holds up better than Devil May Cry, though Devil May Cry is still... Both of them are extremely playable.
Both are very playable, and Devil May Cry ended up having a far bigger impact on the industry. If you think about it, Devil May Cry...
There are few things like Devil May Cry.
There are few things as
important as Devil May Cry.
Like what it did
I
for
understand.
just movement in the 3D space for action games. All action adventure games are modeled after what Devil May Cry was doing.
Sure.
And then it still holds up. It's a very fun game to play today.
Yeah, no question. Half-Life 2, which neither of us have played, and Metal Gear Solid 3.
Let's give it to Half-Life 2.
Easy Half-Life 2.
Metal Gear Solid 3 is probably a game that when I play both of them is the one I like to play more, but it's pretty rough these days. I don't mind that they picked it as a remake. Should they have remade literally 1, 2, or the original MSX titles instead? Absolutely.
Well, what if they're doing that and they're gonna go
chronological?
in order? Yeah,
Dude,
chronological.
The MSX titles getting a remake would be one of the greatest things for Metal Gear fans ever.
All right, so we're letting our bias sit aside for a moment, and we're gonna choose Half-Life 2 because
talk about impact.
No way our bias is being set aside for Metroid Prime versus Halo.
No, Metroid Prime wins.
Metroid Prime wins.
Yeah,
no
and
question.
That's where the full recognition that Halo is more impactful.
Of course, and also for you, I did not grow up on Halo. You did.
I did grow up on Halo. Yeah, I played Halo 2 and then...
So actually, you're not even setting bias aside that much.
I think Metroid Prime is... If we're talking about the greatest games of all time, I mean, Metroid Prime stands tall as one that people think of when they think greatest games of all time. To this day.
Yeah.
And not
also,
just
go look
because
at
of
it.
Impact. You go back and you play that game, you're like, yeah, this is just perfect game design.
Yeah. And go look at it. How is that on a Nintendo console? Still today, it is, I think, the best looking game from that generation. Better than Halo or Halo 2.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous. Dude, fighting Ridley on the Kozo statue.
It's so good, man.
Perfect.
Shadow of the Colossus and Oblivion.
Shadow of the Colossus.
No question.
Unfortunately for Oblivion.
Yeah, unfortunately for Oblivion. I love Oblivion.
It's just going up against Shadow. Shadow, let's real quick, because this is going to make it so far. We need to talk about it. Shadow of the Colossus is one of the most perfect examples of being so much greater than the sum of its parts. The gameplay is all in service of experience without compromising the interesting, puzzly, fun gameplay. But what you remember from Shadow is the experience.
You know what else I appreciate about Shadow? I was thinking about this during our last episode, and I didn't. It wasn't relevant at all for me to bring up. I don't read a lot. I read some. You read a ton.
Sure.
And it takes a long time for a person to work up to
Russian literature.
Exactly. I was going to say Brothers Karamazov.
Yeah, exactly.
Or anything
Perfect,
else. It
perfect
takes
choice.
a long time to work up to that. And I do find it interesting that even in its relative infancy, you can still find some of that in video games. It takes a long time for someone to
Have the
really
context.
understand
Yes.
what's
going on
happening
in Shadow.
in Shadow of the Colossus.
And when you've played enough games, you come to this game. Sure, the main twist of Shadow is pretty meta and interesting and fun. But what you remember isn't even that. Like, that's a footnote, an interesting little concept. What you remember is the super long rides, thinking about what's happening, and then you encounter this creature with so much detail to the environments, to the way you get there, to where you could fashion entire worlds off of these beings. And the way they're paced out, the way you fight them, why you fight this one before that one, everything, before you can even explain why it works, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
It's
special. There's nothing else like it.
Wii Sports versus Mario
Dude,
Galaxy.
I hate this so much.
This is one of the worst. You know what?
Mario Galaxy, I know, dude.
Wii Sports.
Okay, we're gonna move on. It's it's Grand Theft Auto 4 versus World of Warcraft.
Shh. We need to talk about it. We have to talk about it.
I don't want to allow you to think about it.
No, listen, Galaxy wins. Galaxy's the right choice, but for me, Wii Sports is if you were to hand someone 80 years old a Wiimote and tell them that you're playing baseball, they'd go, "Oh yeah," and your whole family's there and you're laughing. I remember that Christmas more than I remember probably when I died my mother's face. Like, I will, dude.
You've got Mario 64, Doom, Devil May Cry. Wii Sports is in there with some of the most important games.
Important ever. And it came packed with the console.
Yeah, it's so
In fact, it's not important
good.
because it became packed with the console.
Yeah.
It explained everything.
I genuinely love Wii Sports.
Oof, God of War 2 versus World of Warcraft. No,
We're on Grand Theft Auto 5
Versus
and
World of Warcraft.
World of Warcraft.
Okay.
4, I'm sorry, GTA 4.
Both are very important. Both are very big deals. Both we haven't really played.
It's the
completely.
first World of Warcraft. I would. Oh wait, no, I'm thinking of.
Warcraft. You're thinking of Warcraft.
Correct. Yes.
Yes.
World of Warcraft, easy.
I think World of Warcraft.
I am thinking of Warcraft 2.
Yeah. No, Warcraft is World of Warcraft.
No question. It might take the category.
It might. Call of Duty Modern Warfare versus God of War 2. I'm gonna give it to Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
Dude,
but
how can
I want to explain what's important about God of War 2 that a lot of people might miss. God of War 2 took Devil May Cry and made it accessible. It put it in an adventure context, like a true adventure context. It gave puzzles. It gave kind of broader world building and pacing. It let you kind of button mash a little bit more generously. Instead of having so in Devil May Cry 1, when you go into Devil Trigger mode, it doesn't just win you the game. You know, a lot of games where you get a super mode, you immediately start killing everything until super mode is done. That's because of God of War, essentially. God of War made that the thing. You have a super mode, you click both sticks in, and then you go to town. Devil May Cry, when you go into Devil Trigger, you now just have more moves that you can do. So you still have to, like, the whole point of Devil May Cry is
hard.
to earn looking
play
cool.
them.
Yeah, but what God of War 2 did is it took that, left the action as a core component, but made it way more accessible. Now you can look cool by following some button prompts when you jump on the Cyclops.
Yeah.
You know? And that's still around.
It is something. Also, it's something that's important.
It super is, but it's not the reason that we still have... This is not the reason we have Fortnite today.
Yeah.
Like,
it's Call of Duty Modern Warfare. I think it's going to be Call of Duty or World of Warcraft for this category. Oh, wait, no, Shadow. Shadow's in the category.
Shadow.
No, Shadow's taking the category, but it's going to be one of those against Shadow.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
If we leave our biases aside, because
just one aspect, right? Because it's also just the core meaning quality of the game.
Metroid Prime is here also, but if we are leaving our bias aside, even with that, I think Shadow's going to take the category.
I think actually, if we were leaving bias aside, I think Metroid Prime would win. But I think
over Shadow.
I think so, but it'd be an argument. Like, this is the hardest choice in the list, probably. It's Prime versus Colossus, but
we shall see, because we're moving on to 2008 to 2015.
Yes, this is kind of my core era.
Yeah.
You know, so this is going to really be fun. No surprise that Last of Us is at the top seed, right? No surprise at all. Surprised that Far Cry 3 still makes it. I bet it's because I included older publications.
I'm not surprised at all. No, I argued it. It was. I think it was not on the list, and I argued for it.
It was close though. It was right near the list.
Far Cry 3, I think, is a pretty important game.
Isn't it wild that Final Fantasy 14 came out in this period?
Yeah,
that's really weird to think about.
All right, so let's start this. We have Last of Us, and
if we're being
Journey.
Honest,
it's Last of Us.
It's Last of Us, but I think we should pick Journey anyway.
Are you saying Journey right now?
I'm saying Journey right now.
We're saying Journey right now.
We both think Last of Us is
Listen,
not
we
good.
were completely objective last time.
Yeah.
The whole point of doing it again was to not be
as
objective.
Allow what we think truly matters to come in a little more.
I'm saying
Mass Effect 2 and Uncharted 2.
Yeah.
Uncharted 2.
That's not even a question.
Yep. We're not going to explain it. We're not going to go through it. We get it. You love Mass Effect 2.
Witcher 3 was in this. That's more surprising than Final Fantasy.
It was 2015. It was right at the end. Witcher 3 versus Amnesia. Let's put Amnesia.
Witcher 3.
Let's put Amnesia.
Really?
I think
Witcher 3 did for the genre
You're right.
Witcher 3 is as important both in timeliness and effectiveness as
Mass Effect.
No. I'm thinking of Game of Thrones.
It's not a bad call. Yeah, let's do it.
I haven't even played Witcher 3. I love Amnesia so much. Witcher 3 is an important
You need to play
thing.
Witcher 3. You'll love it.
I know I will.
Uncharted,
he jumps weird.
Say, the reason that I pick Uncharted 2 over Mass Effect 2 is when you look at what games are around today, they look a lot more like Uncharted 2 than they do Mass Effect 2. I'm thinking of Horizon Zero Dawn. I'm thinking Ghost of Tsushima. You know, these big blockbuster games, they look a lot more like either Uncharted 2 or our next game that we're talking about, Dark Souls. Now, real quick, before we do Dark Souls, I would really appreciate you finishing that beer before we finish the next bracket. Don't chug it, though. Appreciate it. I will.
Dark Souls and Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Is tough.
No. Because this is the... Counter-Strike Go. Okay.
Yeah, CS:GO.
No. This is not the first... That is hard.
And I think I'm going to give it to Dark Souls.
Yeah.
But...
That's the bias coming out, but both are equally important.
I think, though, that when you talk about discourse, CS:GO is limited to... Obviously, it's a huge impact in the multiplayer competitive scene. It's almost one of the core reasons for the multiplayer competitive scene. But when you talk about discourse overall, Dark Souls get brought up a lot more.
Counter-Strike is wildly important.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. We have Minecraft and Far Cry 3. We're going to go ahead and...
I don't even like Minecraft, and it's obvious.
Bloodborne and... Now, listen, let me mention Far Cry 3 for a moment. Have you played Far Cry 3? I played it.
No, I didn't actually.
Ton of fun. And it came out before. It started... the whole trend.
Yeah, it had not been believed.
Far Cry 3 is still happening today, and very little else is happening, and that's the problem. Far Cry 3, in a vacuum, is a ton of fun because it hadn't really happened yet. But it's the only thing happening, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, I've even heard people complain about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth being a little Far Cry-y. Because that's Ubisoft are the purveyors of open world mechanics. What they are doing, everybody else is going to do.
Yep.
Maybe that's not true. Moving into the later stages of this generation,
it's in FF7 Rebirth. You have towers.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. People are saying it's got Far Cry in it, and that might be less true moving forward because the Ubisoft has fallen from grace immensely. But the legacy of Far Cry 3 is probably as important as Dark Souls. I prefer everything that follows Dark Souls Legacy more than Far Cry 3, but if you follow the trajectory backwards, Far Cry 3 is where this it is open world.
Yeah. It is open
So
world.
it's pretty important.
I agree.
But it's not Minecraft.
Minecraft might be the most important
freaking
game,
question.
Period. It's up there.
So I did want to give it its due, but yeah, no question.
Bloodborne, League of Legends.
Wow.
I mean, Bloodborne is just... I mean, it's FromSoft finishing out everything that Dark Souls was setting down. Bloodborne is typically considered the peak of that. You know, because Sekiro is kind of an action game.
More so than Dark Souls 3?
I mean, I think so. I think that's what most people would say. That said, League of Legends, MOBAs. I mean, just think about what that means. And we're not in part of that scene. The scene is massive. It's, I mean, to this day, one of the most competitive, like the money that goes into these things is wild. And it's still running. I think League of Legends deserves it.
Okay, yeah. I've got a question about Bloodborne.
Yeah.
So it was locked at 30 and struggles to maintain 25, right?
I don't know about that, but I know it's locked at 30.
Okay. It's locked at 30. And I mean, I've certainly come around to steady
I've never
30
seen
frames.
it, like, truly dunk. Like,
on PS5, is it a beautiful, steady 30 frames? Have you played it on PS5?
I have. It seems to be really steady when I play it. It's still, you can still notice it. Even I can notice it's 30 frames though, so that's saying something.
GTA 5 and Final Fantasy 14.
Ooh,
that's actually really tough.
That's a really
good,
hard.
Both of these next entries are hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it to GTA 5 for two reasons. One, we skipped GTA 4 last time. We got to have some GTA representation moving forward. But two, people like Final Fantasy 15. People are still playing because it's an MMO. GTA 5 people are still playing because it's GTA 5.
Well, it's also an MMO.
I mean, they're not even playing the MMO version. They're just literally just playing.
Well, yeah. But so
version.
many clips of online have come into my feed recently.
Oh, yeah.
People are cheating and they're modding in superheroes. So they're like Batman and they find someone punching a hooker. And so they're Batman, and they've got all these cheats on. And they're like, grab the guy and choke him and throw him down the street. And you've got the proximity chat on, so they're yelling at each other. I'm Batman. Apologize to that hooker. And then the guy's like, I'm not going to apologize. And he shoots a rocket, and the dude like does the splits as Batman. What are you doing? And Batman's like, let's go to the top of that skyscraper. They are so funny, but they're just as vigilantes.
Let's go, GTA 5. So, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. GTA 6 will never be that good.
No. All right. Let me calm down for a second, because they were really funny, dude. Those videos are so good. Portal 2 and Skyrim. Now, based on our last one,
so Portal 2 is going to win.
Portal 2 is gonna win. Let's just do it.
I would argue it's as important as Skyrim.
I don't think it's very important.
I disagree.
I think...
to developers. Think about how many developers build off of
maybe. I have no
Portal
idea.
2, who like will cite Portal 2 as the inspiration for their games that they're making.
I don't know. I think Skyrim is a more important game than Portal 2.
This isn't just more important.
No.
It's better.
I think Portal 2 is one of the greatest games ever made, but it's so unrecognized as one of the greatest games ever made.
So let's recognize it.
We're gonna put it there. I mean, it was, I think, in the top 2.
It's winning this. I'm predicting right now. It's winning this whole bracket.
Yeah. It definitely won against Skyrim last time. I think it was the same matchup. I do think Skyrim is a more, quote, important game.
It did a lot. I get it. And Skyrim is still fun. I know a lot of people like to crap on Skyrim these days. Oh, Morrowind is more interesting. Living's better. I don't care. I played Skyrim when I was like 13 or whatever, and Skyrim is amazing.
Yes.
Okay?
Nick is playing Skyrim again. There's a new complete overhaul.
Yeah, I saw
Not
that.
Skyblivion, but there's basically a new game.
Yeah.
Someone just made a game with Skyrim.
Yeah, he was telling me about it.
And he said it is right
Like
now
being
he
10
is
again?
playing it as though he were 10. Which
What a
sounds
special experience.
fantastic.
And he just watched me play. Like, he didn't get to play it himself for a while. He was just watching me play.
I installed it. I probably will never play it. I'll end up deleting it, I'm sure.
It was good memories.
But whatever
And
that,
it's really hard for me to
that
say
mod
but
is.
because I don't have any nostalgia for Portal 2. I just played it, like, for the cast.
You hadn't played it?
No, I didn't play it when I was like that was the first time I played Portal 2.
Whoa, I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I had touched it before. Never finished Portal 2.
Oh, that was my third or fourth time playing it. Portal.
So I don't have any nostalgia, and I still pick Portal 2.
Okay. Well, that is 2008 to 2015.
Now I excluded 2023. I made this list back
Yeah,
in
you
2023,
had made it a little while ago.
and I don't think so I did include Baldur's Gate 3 though,
Oh, we did.
because it technically came out.
Well, real quick,
release.
would you put... I mean, the only other option there is, for us anyway... No, I don't even think Tears of the Kingdom.
This is fine. Leave it.
All right, we put Baldur's Gate 3. That's good.
So we got Breath of the Wild versus Pokemon Go.
Breath of the Wild, no question.
But
Both.
I mean,
they're both very important. Breath of the Wild, bro.
Breath of the Wild. Yeah, did a lot. Let's go.
That's like Resident Evil 4.
Yeah.
Changing
correct.
it all.
Yeah, correct.
So, look, video games are happening again.
Yeah. It's Red Dead 2 versus Outer Wilds. Outer Wilds.
Yeah. I don't even think Red Dead 2 is a particularly important game.
No, but it's freaking great.
Yes.
Like, don't get me wrong.
No
it's
question.
Amazing. Now, Elden Ring is already... It came out in 2020.
Oh, Vampire Survivors! I forgot.
Elden Ring versus Vampire Survivors. I already don't like Elden Ring very much, but it is super important. I get it.
I don't think it's as important as Vampire Survivors.
Let's go, Vampire Survivors.
Everybody loves that. Everybody who touches
I'm
it...
done.
Awesome. We'll finish this category and then start the next beer for the...
No, we're going to start the next beer.
All right, next
I
beer.
drink slowly. Let me start here. This is Viridium. Spontaneously fermented beer with toasted yaupon, juniper, and rosemary. For those of you who don't know what yaupon is...
I don't.
Yaupon.
Oh, no.
It is
You have a corkscrew.
Yes. It is a caffeinated leaf, like tea, that's native to the Americas. So a lot of Native Americans would use it for like kind of the same way that tea leaves would be used in other countries. It's got this very, like, if you ever had mate tea, very similar smell, very similar taste. Mate tea being the South American one. I'm going to open this with a corkscrew, which will take me a second. So
Okay.
you'll keep going.
Oh, yeah, I'm going to talk about Vampire Survivors for a sec. What are we on? Vampire Survivors versus
And
Elden Ring. Okay. I understand people love Elden Ring. We have our complaints with it on this cast. Every person who touches Vampire Survivors loves this game, including me. I currently have almost 50 hours in it. I'm trying to wrap up the recent bout of DLC on Switch. It basically invented a genre. There are many games that have spawned off from Vampire Survivors, and it is just such incredible fun. BAFTA giving it Game of the Year was so good.
BAFTA usually hits it on the
good
head.
Choice.
They gave Outer Wilds, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah,
and Hades.
Yeah, they know what's up. BAFTA typically knows what's up.
I don't know why people don't talk about those more.
I don't either.
They just focus on the Game Awards.
Jeff Keighley.
I mean, they happen at a more relevant time. The BAFTAs
it's the
still
ads,
haven't
too.
happened.
Yeah, it's also the ads.
That's a big thing.
Like,
but I'll be watching. I just, thumb through. I scrub the video for the Game Awards,
Whoa.
but I'll watch the BAFTAs. Oh, let's do this beer.
This is
last beer for the cast right here.
This is beautiful. It smells lemony.
Yeah.
It smells really like smoky. A little bit of
Man, I wish I
pepper.
could put my tongue
Little
on
funk. What's
what.
that funk?
That's what it is. I don't know the name.
It's like tangerine. It's like tangerine-y a little bit. Wow.
Listen, I don't know if I'm correct. I think what I'm thinking of is slight umami-ish.
I mean, definitely.
Am I right?
You are. Yeah. It smells mushroomy.
Wow, we have really hit it home with these 4 beers.
These are
what a good
four
send
of the
off.
best beers I've ever had.
Will you put some more in there? That's enough. She's already got 2 downstairs.
There we go.
Leave her some of this, but she doesn't need that much.
Yeah, this is the winner.
All right, so we're gonna put Vampire Survivors over Elden Ring.
And I don't feel bad
appreciate
about it a
that.
little bit.
No. Last of Us 2 and
I'm
Hollow
sorry.
Knight. No. It's not even a question.
I'm
not even
sorry.
Close to a question. Hollow Knight and Elden Ring. Yeah. Hollow Knight is the Metroidvania genre, I think, at this point.
Correct. It's what. Yeah, it's innovated in a way that none other have, even Nintendo themselves.
No, don't even apologize. No question. God of War 2018 and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Also, no contest.
Yeah. Super Smash is
relevant
Super Smash.
reference. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is peak Smash Bros. I think it is a pretty important game. Also,
no.
Persona 5 and what? Disco
Elysium?
No, that's no question either.
Still though, it's like.
I appreciate you giving me that little...
I love Persona 5. In fact, if you were to look at my top 50 list right now, they're almost right next to each other.
Oh, really? They're close.
They're fantastic. Persona 5 is objectively the
best.
Man,
you should
RPG.
just play Disco Elysium again so you can put it where it belongs on your list.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It doesn't belong there. Wherever it is right now. Just play it one more time.
It will never be top 10.
Never be top 10?
It'll be close.
You play it one more time, it'll be top 5.
No. Oh, definitely never top 5.
Whoa,
top 5
dude.
is a tight competition. That is tight competition.
All right. Well, we have Persona 5 and Disco Elysium.
Disco, for sure.
It's Disco for sure.
It's Disco. What it did for CRPGs, the writing, the choices, the RPG.
LOL.
The thought cabinet? The thought cabinet? I don't know if I said it like that. The thought cabinet
yes.
is brilliant.
What it did for CRPGs. What a funny statement and a relevant segue. We have Baldur's Gate 3 and Stardew Valley. Now,
Stardew.
I also lean towards Stardew.
I get it.
But Baldur's Gate 3, bro.
Baldur's Gate 3 is bringing the CRPG back. It is so well done.
The CRPG in its original form.
Correct.
Disco Elysium is using the CRPG genre for like its own agenda. Mm-hmm. Baldur's Gate 3 is a CRPG.
It's a CRPG with the ability to make your dwarf jump, 500 feet.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Dude,
that said,
this smells so good. This beer is...
I could just sit here and smell it.
We have won.
Yes. It's
with
a little
these
salty,
3
too.
beers.
It's a little salty. It's like smoked sea salt. I get smoked sea salt off of it. It's so nice.
They've just been sitting in my closet for 6 to 8 months. Staring at me. I'm like, when are we going to do the next cast? They're for the cast.
I'm picking Stardew Valley because nothing does what Stardew Valley does.
Yeah, I'll agree with you.
It's hard to say that because Baldur's Gate 3 I think could make it to the end on this. But it's Stardew. And then Hades and Overwatch.
No way Baldur's Gate 3 is making it to the end. You have Breath of the Wild, Smash Bros, Hollow Knight.
I guess that's fair.
Stardew
Hades
is...
and Overwatch? What are we doing? We should give it to Overwatch. We should. I know.
Is it another consolation prize because we know Hades isn't going to make it up?
No. I mean, it's not a consolation prize. Overwatch probably deserves it. Like, people have a sour taste.
Early, like Overwatch 2016 to 18. I agree.
Yes, and that's what this is, right? That's what this is talking about.
All right.
I mean,
even if we are putting our bias aside, we freaking loved Overwatch.
We played so much. And we sucked. And it was just fun. Yeah. It was fun. All right.
We sucked so bad.
Let's go, dude. Back to the top.
All right. We have now, we're back into
our 1999.
Yeah.
Pre-1999 and before. So pre-2000, pre-turn of the millennium.
We have Super Mario 64 again. Sorry, Street Fighter 2, but it's Mario 64.
We love you. We love you. You're a beautiful, beautiful person. You're valued by the Lord on high.
Beautiful people, bro.
Yeah, oh, for real. Dude, Cammy. Cammy's gorgeous.
Was she in Street Fighter 2?
I don't know, but
she's
in Street Fighter 6, I can tell you that right now.
Dude, so much of her is Street Fighter 6. Final Fantasy 7 and Metal Gear Solid.
Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna... You take it away.
No, I get it. Metal Gear Solid, I can go back and play Final Fantasy 7. I cannot go back and play Metal Gear Solid anymore. It's really hard to play the end of that game. Final Fantasy 7 holds up to this day. It didn't define what it was doing. It really took a lot of its ideas from Final Fantasy 6, but it westernized them really well. It's a huge impact for a reason. The game lasts. So I think it's fine. I think it's fine to keep it there. It's grown in my mind over time as well. I'm making a list of my favorite Final Fantasy games. I was surprised how high it was.
Are we gonna have an argument, or do you just want to say some words for Super Metroid?
Again, Super Metroid is not one of my favorite Metroid games.
Tetris it is.
And Tetris, I think, deserves this. Click on Red and Blue and Doom. Yeah.
Doom, bro.
Doom. Again, you could just throw Doom in right now and have a great time.
We're going back.
Very sad Doom 2016 is not on this list.
So we've just finished round 2 for 99 and Yonder. but we have 2000 to 2007 with Resident Evil 4. The two probably...
The two top contenders, maybe?
World of Warcraft. There's World of Warcraft. Resident Evil 4 and
like great
Call
era,
of
dude.
Duty. Yeah, it
Great
is.
era.
Yeah, it is. We're still feeling it. Everything from this era,
Yes.
dude. RE4 and Call of Duty 4.
So in terms of impact, Call of Duty 4, but Resident Evil 4 is the better game. So I think
Really?
4. Yeah.
Original Resident Evil 4 is better than Call of Duty 4? I don't know, man.
Okay, in some ways, absolutely. And I think
some ways you enjoy them more.
No,
but I think you
in
can...
overall game design, I think Resi 4 wins. But I understand what you're saying, and I think it's a close enough call where I would not. I think Modern Warfare is fine. My wife will be very mad at us, but we can do.
You actively don't like Resident Evil 4.
But dude, that encounter design is amazing. It's just the age that really holds it back.
And
but I'm also
lava
super alone.
cave giants.
I'm also super alone in that though. Like everybody else in the world goes back and plays Resi 4.
But that's also true of Call of Duty. If you actively don't like RE4, I think we should give it to Modern Warfare.
That's fine. Modern Warfare.
If you and I put in Modern Warfare right now and did a co-op, can you do co-op campaign?
I don't know.
Do you know?
But we had a great time.
We'd have a stellar time.
Yeah, it's really clean. That's fine. I'm fine with that.
I would probably rather play that than the remake. I just want to throw
respect to the incredible encounter design of Resi 4. That the reason the remake is so good is because it takes that encounter design and modernizes it. Just a touch. It doesn't even do much to it. Just little tweaks. It's amazing. Devil May Cry and World of Warcraft.
Whoa, dude, this is a hard, as you said, this category is just so impactful.
Yeah, I think, and the thing is because Devil May Cry, again, it struggles with the Resi 4 thing where it's a little harder to go back to. Mm-hmm. People, when they launched Vanilla again, World of Warcraft, everybody I know who played went back and played and got to the max level.
That's the game now, is Vanilla.
Yeah.
Wow. Wii Sports and Half-Life.
Wii Sports.
Okay. Not gonna argue.
Mostly because we haven't played Half-Life 2, so I can't speak to it. Both are impactful, but
Metroid Prime and Shadow.
We gotta give it to Shadow. Unfortunately, the final of this should be Prime versus Shadow. That's what it should.
Alas, the numbers did not work out that way, but
we all know that's what it
if we were just going off of our personal taste, it would be Metroid Prime and Shadow.
Yeah. But
it ain't.
And I might even give it to Prime all the way to the end and then probably give it to Shadow.
Yeah. Of course.
So let's go. Well, we're going back to the 2008 to 2015. The
also
prime of my youth.
Portal 2 and Journey. No question, Portal 2?
No questions.
Uncharted 2 and GTA 5. That one's actually difficult for me. I've not played
Uncharted
GTA 5.
2, of course. I think GTA 5 has its problems. I think giving Uncharted is fine. Uncharted 2. They're both great games. GTA 5 might have more impact, sure, but I don't really care. I think Uncharted
at this point, Witcher 3 League of Legends, Witcher 3 easy. Those are, I mean, I know I'm going to love that game.
That's actually way harder than I thought it was going to be. I was just going to dunk it on Minecraft.
There are times when your bias is like, no question. But then the impact it so overpowers your bias.
Let's give it to Dark Souls.
It's hard.
Let's give it to Dark Souls.
Only because if it were Minecraft versus anything else on this list, I would have a hard time. But because Dark Souls is also unquestionably one of the most impactful games.
It'll be looked like when people are studying video games 1,000 years from now, Dark Souls will be on.
Yes.
And Minecraft will both be on the study material.
So because they're both like top 5 most impactful games,
I'd rather give it to Dark Souls.
Yeah, we'll show our bias a little bit. But if it weren't for that, I really do think if it weren't for Dark Souls, Minecraft would win the list.
Yep.
All right. Let's see. Oh
no, go all the way down.
Yeah. I just actually
2016 to 2022 again. No, we're good. Okay. All right, Breath of the Wild versus Overwatch.
I'm looking at the wrong thing. Yeah.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. It's also, I don't actually think Breath of the Wild is that impactful. We hope it's that
impactful. I love that.
Where's the impact, bro?
Immortals Phoenix Rising.
Oh, duh.
I mean, yeah.
Aren't they working on a sequel?
I don't know. I don't care.
Outer Wilds, Stardew Valley.
Outer Wilds.
Dumb questions.
Vampire Survivors and Disco.
No contest.
Hollow Knight and Smash Bros. Hollow Knight. Oh, what? Do you disagree?
Not personally. I think Smash Bros. Is peak Smash Bros. And there should never be another one.
Sure, but it's Hollow Knight. It's basically our favorite game ever.
All right. Yeah. Yes.
How can we not let it
what?
go
What?
forward?
Where is it on your list?
It's number 2, I think.
It's number 2 on mine as well.
Yeah, number 2 or 3. It's right there.
All right. Mario 64 and Doom. Now, it's going to be Mario 64, right?
Oh, yes, it is.
It's going to be Mario 64.
Why?
But
it's Doom.
more than, well, Tetris included. All right, this list right here. Mario 64, Tetris, and Doom. More than any other game that will ever be created. You can put these in at any point in history, and you'll understand.
Mm-hmm.
You just be, oh, this is why we have this entire medium right there. Those 3 games.
Yep, absolutely. Give it 64, and then give it to Tetris. I'm glad Final Fantasy 7 made... Oh, whoops.
What is happening?
You got me
yeah,
too.
I see. All right. Mario 64 and Tetris going to the Elite 8. All right. The year 2000 to 2007. Shadow of the Colossus and Modern Warfare. It's got to be Shadow of the Colossus. We talked about it. We mentioned that. I mentioned my appreciation for it being that like pillar of maturity in the genre. I mean, in the medium.
Yeah.
I really appreciate it for that.
It did a turn for a lot of developers, a lot of storytellers. World of Warcraft and Wii Sports. Wii Sports! Give it to it! I don't care! Screw World of Warcraft! I never got into it. I respect it, but Wii Sports changed my grandfather's life.
Thank you. Thank you for doing me a favor.
Dude, I'm here for you. I understand it.
Portal 2 Dark Souls.
Portal 2.
Okay.
Portal 2 is just... Dark Souls, unfortunately, does not hold up as I think most people think it does. It really struggles in a lot of moments. Especially... Everybody talks about the last half of that game is pretty rough.
Will you hand me that bottle?
Dude, leave some for my wife, please.
Dude, this is more than I have currently had. That is for your wife. No, are you going to have more? No. I'm, of course, going to leave some for your wife. I want to share it with her. But I'm going to have a little more also.
Okay, Uncharted 2
and Witcher 3.
Witcher 3.
I'm going to let you take it away.
Witcher 3. And the reason I picked this is because of Uncharted 2 has since been done better. I recognize its impact. It's really important. It's what really made... Like, Naughty Dog really solidified what they were doing with Uncharted 2. The Witcher 3, to this day, is unbeaten in that Mass Effect story-driven RPG, branching path, decision kind of game. It might never be beaten. It's just that good. The writing's amazing. The characters are brilliant, and the gameplay's fun. It's just a good time.
You know what else is very interesting?
Tell me.
That we had what is probably our favorite Jester King Brewing. Then we had what? Oh, that's probably number 1.
And
now he's got... Oh, that's probably number 1. What a good selection of...
It was like that
beer,
first
dude.
year of the cast where it just kept getting better. We were sharing stuff that neither of us, like one of us hadn't played yet. We shared Resi 2.
Yeah.
We shared Shadow, Transistor. Yeah, it was like...
All right. Portal 2 and Witcher 3 are going to take it to the finals. We have Breath of the Wild and Hollow Knight.
Hollow Knight.
Whoa, that's hard.
I don't care.
It's not actually that hard. The next one's much harder.
This is where the subjectivity comes in hard because they're all incredible.
Yes. This is actually way harder for me.
Outer Wilds. Don't even lie to yourself. Stop
Okay,
lying to yourself.
you're right.
Outer Wilds.
Right. Yes, Daddy.
Don't call me that ever again. All right, Elite 8. Let's go.
Elite 8. Let me scroll over just a bit.
Just a bit. What's that? It's like that character from BoJack, the son of the frog who runs the agency. I'm just trying to be here for a while, and oh no, it's sticking to my hand. Charlie.
How far along are you in that show?
Almost done with season 4. I think I have 2 episodes left.
Do you have Netflix or did you download it somewhere?
I have Netflix.
Okay. I didn't realize you had Netflix.
I keep rebuying it every month because I'm trying to cancel it, but I'm not quite done with BoJack yet.
Yeah,
so.
you got to finish BoJack. All right. Mario 64. No question.
And
so
it's because it's the original Tetris. That's the reason, too. Does that make sense?
No, because listen, I prefer future iterations with the double bag, but Tetris is
If
the
I were
one.
to plug both of these games in, I am much more likely to play all the way through 64 than I am Tetris.
Me as well.
All the way through. You know what I mean?
And Tetris, I think. I mean, hear me out. Go, chess, poker, Tetris. Those are the best games ever created.
Yeah.
Texas Hold'em is what I mean by poker.
Yeah, of course. Of course. 5-card draw. But weenies.
I generally think Tetris is one of the greatest
Weenie Hut Juniors.
games, not video games ever created. However, we're talking about a list of video games here. And I would more readily sit down and play Mario 64 any day.
Yep.
Than the original Tetris, yes.
Let's go. Double click. Yeah, you know. You can
do
just
that.
double click the edge and it'll like fit it automatically.
Oh, great. I don't know.
I'm here for you. Shout out Colossus Esports. Shout out to Colossus.
Yeah, no contest,
They
my
are such opposite games,
guys.
so like in every way. But that's what's so cool, you know?
Portal 2, Witcher 3. I'm going to let you choose here. I know my option because I haven't played Witcher 3. But I wouldn't argue.
Portal 2.
Are you having to fight yourself right now?
I am. But
Then choose Witcher.
No. I'm having to fight myself because they're both great. But Witcher 3 is not even on my top 50.
Witcher 3 doesn't have J.K. Simmons.
Sure, but I'm saying Witcher 3 is in my top 50. It's all out of respect, like, and the writing and the brilliance of that game. Portal 2 is everything. Portal 2 is the whole package. Again, Portal 2
Portal 3 is video games, dude.
Portal 2 is the one I'd marry, you know?
I hear you.
Because it's J.K. Simmons.
Hollow Knight Outer Wilds.
Can we just not?
See,
Can we just have this be the final?
Hollow Knight is my second favorite game. But Outer Wilds, there's nothing like it. There are other games like Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight just does it the best. It's no comparison. But there's nothing as special as Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds?
Yeah.
Outer Wilds?
Outer Wilds. We're doing it.
Oh,
We're doing it,
that's
dude.
crazy.
What freaking losers.
Oh, dude, amazing.
All right, so we
Shadow
have
versus
Super Mario 64 and Shadow.
Super Mario. Let's do Shadow.
Okay.
Super Mario 64 walked ran so Shadow of the Colossus could fly.
Is that what we're saying?
That's what I'm gonna say. It should work. Double click.
Can you do it?
No. Oh, there it goes.
All right. So we have Portal 2
Outer
and
Wilds.
no question.
Yeah, that's it.
Whoa. This is a list. All right, hold on. Don't even talk yet.
Okay. Our final two: Shadow of the Colossus and Outer Wilds. This is March Madness. These are the goats of the goats.
Zachary Short, this is the send off for the podcast.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Outer Wilds. I think it's got to be Outer Wilds, man. That's the whole cast.
And what if I think it's Shadow of the Colossus?
Do you, though?
No. I just want it to be controversial. I think we should give it to Outer Wilds.
It's got to be Outer Wilds.
March Madness 2024. We present to you the winner of everything.
It all.
The greatest game ever made. Outer Wilds.
Outer Wilds is...
Well, you know what's funny is these two games are doing something very similar. The emotional experience they're delivering, the way they interact with the player, what they ask of the player. Outer Wilds is not a game you can just hand to someone who's played a few video games.
And neither is Shadow.
And neither is Shadow. Yeah, I think they both go very hand in hand. So,
although you could probably give Shadow to more people than Outer Wilds. Just because, big thing climb.
Sure. It's more intuitive, I guess.
Yeah.
But not necessarily because of they won't get what they need out of it.
Correct.
So,
Zach.
what?
That makes sense. Because this was also number one on the tier list for what we shared.
I guess that's true. I guess we
Um,
really like Outer Wilds.
we really love
Maybe
Outer
it's
Wilds.
my favorite game. Maybe I should just... No, it's not true. Metal Gear Solid 5.
Metal Gear Solid 5 your favorite game, but
Maybe it's number 2.
it might be, Zach.
Maybe it's number 2. Maybe it's your number 2.
Well, it's in my top 5.
Sure, mine too. But maybe it's your number 2.
It's not my number 2 because Hollow Knight's my number 2.
No, I mean like maybe it's your number 2.
I would
Not over Tetris.
very comfortably put it above Hotline Miami, which is my number 3. I think I'm going to have to shift that.
Pretty important.
I'll move Hotline Miami below. as number 5 instead of number 3. I'll readjust that a little bit. But Tetris Effect will probably never be unseated.
Yeah, I don't see how it could.
In fact, that should just be number 0. Anyway, forget that. Zach, it's been a very nice 3 years. I have played 211 games since we started the podcast. It's been great.
It's been fantastic.
It's been a wonderful time. We have discovered a lot with each other, like Outer Wilds. Not only in our top 5, there's some bias there, but our collective number 1. Best game ever made.
Yikes.
Outer Wilds. It's a good time. We cried together.
Oh, we did.
We love each other very much.
Indeed. Oh, it hits. It hits. It's hard.
Indeed.
But the end of an era, for sure. But you'll eventually have kids who are 15, so you'll have time again. Surprising amount of time again.
Yeah. Way sooner than most people.
Yeah.
See, I got my kids when they were 9 and 10.
He bought them? No, I was kidding.
Dude, well, that's how we all always used to say it. Before, she came down with her illness, and we would say we would have a child, and then we would adopt another. We would always say, oh, we're just going to have one, and then we'll buy the other. That's always been the joke.
Dude,
and believe me, we're freaking paying for it.
Yeah, you are. Oh my gosh. It's just wrong. I'm looking at my top 50 right now. Yeah, I'm going to move Outer Wilds up to my number 2 for sure.
Number 2.
But I'm so honest with myself, and I love being honest with myself.
Yes.
My number 8 is Kingdom Hearts 2. And my number 9 is Doom.
2016.
Doom 2016.
What have you got up there, top 5?
Yeah, so I got Metal Gear Solid 5, Battle Network 3, Hollow Knight, Breath of the Wild, and Devil May Cry 5.
All right. So, for me,
yeah,
I'm very happy to hear that you're going to adjust that a little bit.
I'm going to edit it.
I'm going to do it right now also.
Yeah, let's edit.
Tetris Effect is practically a number 0. What I like to say about Tetris Effect is that it is the most profound digital experience someone can have. I think Tetris Effect is approaching a digital spiritual experience. I love it so much. So Hollow Knight, if that's just like obviously, the most pretentious thing you could ever hear about a video game, it's above number 1. Hollow Knight's practically my number 1, which would practically make Outer Wilds my number 2. If we're being
really pedantic about it, dude,
yeah.
I have a great top 10. If I have anything to say about it, I have an excellent top 10.
All right, let's hear it. What's your top 10, Zach?
I just adjusted. We have Metal Gear Solid 5, Outer Wilds, Mad Game Battle Network 3, Hollow Knight, Devil May Cry 5, Breath of the Wild, Metroid Prime. I have the trilogy on here. It's just Metroid Prime trilogy.
As do I.
Yeah. Kingdom Hearts 2, Doom 2016, and I have to have a weird choice somewhere. I have Rain World.
I can't wait to play it.
Rain World at number 2.
Wait to play it, dude.
But dude, if you keep going, I mentioned that Disco and Hades and Returnal are next to each other. They're literally right next to each other. I have Hades, Returnal, and Disco Elysium at 13, 14, and 15.
I'm going to do one more edit here.
Yeah, I'm going to also move Majora's Mask way up.
Oh.
That's what's happening for me.
I am adjusting. Right now I have as number 11 Disco and number 12. So number 11, 12, and 13 were Disco, Darkwood, and Prey. I'm adjusting that to be Darkwood, Disco, and Prey. Anyway, my number 10 here, after these 3 years playing over 200 games with each other and considering everything we've played in the past, my top 10 are Tetris Effect, Hollow Knight, Outer Wilds, Shadow of the Colossus, Hotline Miami, Transistor, Oddworld, Abe's Odyssey, Breath of the Wild, Metroid Prime Trilogy, and Catherine. Yeah.
Dude, I love that Transistor is that high. It's amazing.
I love it so much.
Darkwood's right next to it, too. It's number 11. Darkwood's right there.
Yeah, if I played Darkwood again...
Darkwood and Disco are right there.
if I played either of them again, they would probably skyrocket to 6 and 7.
Probably. They're fantastic.
Skyrocket is like 4.
Dude, for us, though, it's such a tight competition. Yeah. There's so many good video games. Well, this is a good run. And we'll come back to it in a few years. It'll be a good chance to re-educate ourselves on the games that we missed during the period that you have kids and I deal with all of my life stuff right now. So, yeah, I mean, we're going to have some life happen. We're hopefully going to go to Japan together soon, and a lot of good stuff happening. So we're signing off for a little while, but very grateful for the time we had here, and definitely planning on revisiting. And of course, no matter what, we're always going to keep playing games together. We're both playing Rebirth right now. I cannot wait to talk about that with you. It's going to be a great
I need some more time. I need a little more time with it.
Oh, I know.
Folks, thank you so much for anyone who has listened, is listening. It's been a good time for us. We're, as he said, signing off. If you have some friends and you have time and you love each other intimately, start a podcast, dude. Just talk with each other about a thing you enjoy together.
It's the best
Listen
thing.
to me. Nobody's going to listen to it. But it's fun.
It's fun.
So much fun. I cannot recommend it enough. It's been a blast. Anyone hearing this, I hope you don't forget to share what you love with who you love.